Okay, welcome all to the August 4th, 2021 meeting of the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners. Open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, reorganization. Tom said he's going to be here. He'll be here momentarily late, so unless anybody just push it to later in the agenda.
Sure.
Minutes for June 9th, June 15th, and July 7th.
You have them all in here, or are they ones from that we had before?
One should be in there, and then two were from previous.
Yeah. Why didn't we approve them last time?
Because
We didn't have
the
everyone
people who were
here.
here.
Oh,
couldn't
okay,
vote.
all right. So, what's your pleasure?
I'd approve them, but I make a motion, we approve them all in a correction to the meeting on June 15th with me in attendance.
Okay.
Second.
I was not here, Mr. Chairman, for the June 9th or the June 15th meeting.
Okay. All right, so we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Opposed? Abstention? Unanimous. Okay, Sherry Hould. Is this person gonna come in?
She was
or-
supposed to, I
Okay.
guess she's
we'll-
not.
We'll push it off. There is a copy of the bill in the packet.
Just one thing on that bill, Mr. Chairman. Without checking the rates and doing the math, water's virtually 3 times higher than sewer when you come out with the cubic footage? If it went through the meter?
That's what it looks like here.
When you get up to the 4,000 range.
Yes.
You
Oh,
say
yeah, when you get up to
the $10 per cubic foot,
Yeah.
100 cubic
That-
feet.
that's
It's
with the
that you catch
That's
up,
the new rate
you get to
structure.
that ratio really fast.
Okay, all right. Just seems peculiar when
Okay.
you think of it in that respect, when you first see it, you know?
PFAS litigation. We'll take it up if the person shows up.
Did we want to look at it at all, or get any information? You're the one that usually handles these, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was, we tagged the house, it came back as high. I think we actually realized that when we first did the readings. There was no answer at the door, tagged them. Apparently there was a leaky toilet. Person was deaf, the tenant was deaf and just couldn't hear it or didn't know but
That's a lot for a toilet.
no, that's a
No.
full range. That's
24/7,
Yeah.
7 days a
Yeah,
week
no.
for 3 months?
Yeah.
Maybe 4
Yeah,
months?
well, actually, that's a long time ago, but yeah, it was about $800.
Yeah, that's full open, but also how many bathrooms are in their apartment? Is it used?
It's a multi-family house, right?
Yeah, usually only have one bathroom.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what the normal bill is.
So
It's attached right below.
Oh,
it
it's attached,
With the history.
second page. Okay.
So in that application, it's a business venture, when you look
Yes.
at it from that
Right,
perspective.
Oh, yeah, big difference.
You know, it's not a single family.
and you can't monitor, we can't go out and monitor for every multifamily, each tenant and what they're doing. I mean, that's up to them.
I think we do a good job now, like with Jen and the guys and Brian, flagging bills that seem to be out of whack. You catch them on your reading.
Well,
And
you know,
as the system gets improved even more, they'll be able to see that on a weekly basis.
well, ideally, the plan is to not do bills monthly, but to do readings monthly, probably like a rainy day or the early part of the month, so we can just take a survey around town, see if there's any abnormal use, and maybe flag some, only catch them for a month.
Sure.
Yeah.
To reduce it, but it's also manpower, time, and then going through it, and it's,
Well, do your radios flag alarms?
yeah.
So if
A
you,
certain group of them are, I would say,
it depends on the meter.
it depends on the meter and how old they are.
Right.
The 148 series doesn't, the newer ones that we've all put in do. The 148s are the next group that are scheduled to be changed out, probably tagged once we get through the sewer only, the wells. But ideally, we can still see if I can get information of what's leaking on the 156 meters. On 148, we'll just see that there's a high usage. Just flag, if somebody all of a sudden has a residential house that's using 10,000 cubic feet, we can let them know there's maybe a leak, but
Okay.
that's the best we can do.
So I mean, I don't know that I put the effort in that you go through every one, but if you have, like if you drive through and you have the meters that show a flag for high usage,
Yeah,
potential
the-
leak, it shows up in your gun, right?
On the computer, this is on the computer.
I'm just trying
Yep.
to think, because if you can quickly go through and it'll say 17 alarms, you just go check which alarm.
Yes, or what we do is we just export it into an Excel spreadsheet and look at the highs and the lows.
Yeah,
Is
just sort it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take it up if they show up. Number 6, PFAS litigation update. We've got yet another one. This is the one that came in, I think the day of our last meeting. It's another one. Well, I mean, we're getting, we didn't get one this month, but we got about one a month for about 4 months. Different proposals for
I mean, I
the
think-
big money PFAS litigation.
I think everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. I think the C-Naught, the first company that came in.
That was,
Not,
Hang on.
yeah, what was the name of the
not.
Spa, no, it was,
And the fellow was on it.
wasn't Spofford, it
Clinton,
was,
remember? Clinton or
yeah.
something? Hank?
Napoli, something in Napoli.
Hank.
Yeah.
Might have been.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know.
We looked into them. They were a reputable company. I think we sent it to town council.
Town council
They
sent,
negotiated with them.
Yep.
Yes.
Fixed the contract the way we wanted.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I don't,
He has a good
I don't-
reputation in that.
that's what I mean,
area.
and they've been
Check it out.
reputable. They've done many, MTBE cases and,
These people on it.
so,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much longer do we want to delay in making a decision with this? It's just, I mean,
I think you
no matter which one.
You gotta pick one horse and.
That's what I mean.
How
I
many
think-
more riders went on the bandwagon
Right,
since
right,
last
right.
meeting?
And that's
Yeah.
it, every meeting we have, there'll be another 2 or 3, and we're gonna send them all off to town council. and
Yeah,
cost
it
us,
just,
so-
it gets.
Costs us
it gets
money
crazy.
out of our budget for town council.
I did speak with the town administrator last month, a couple weeks ago now, and he said that our best bet is to just,
To move.
we're just gonna have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, and that's right.
And decide what we wanna do.
That's the point I was getting at, is I think we should just, potentially move
Get on
forward
board
with
and get
Naughton
going.
and, get
The
on.
longer
the
you
list.
wait, the worse it's gonna get.
Yeah, and, I think town council supposedly negotiated the
Right.
best deal for us on the contract, and
We have all of that in the office.
Yes, he was looking out for us.
That's what I
In that
mean. I mean,
respect,
our
Yeah.
council, that's,
Yeah.
the purpose of them is to make sure we get the best deal we can, and if he negotiated a favorable deal for us, I think we should move on it.
So if
That's my
you
opinion.
wanna put that in form of a motion?
Yeah, I think
That seems how-
I make a motion that we sign with Hank Naughton's firm for the PFAS litigation and move forward with that.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? I think it's, yeah, everything that's been said is right on
Yeah.
target, right on target. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Abstain,
Opposed?
Scott.
Huh?
Must abstain, because I just
Abstain.
walked in on it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, good.
So it's 4-0-1. Okay, that was the PFAS litigation. Something in Napoli. What was it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I remember. See, if I had my old folder, I'd have all that paperwork with it. But,
Why didn't you
no, it's
bring it?
actually, it's in the backseat of my car. Okay.
So, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, in that regards, does Jen have to contact our town administrator to contact that firm to say that we want to professionally get on?
You're under no obligation, but they're just there to assist you with their information they came up with. You have every right to go ahead and contact them.
This-
but who signs the contract?
I gotta say, do we
think
need
it's
something
ju- I
legal,
think
something
it's-
binding?
Yeah, I think-
That's
You know?
that's what was sent back from town
Oh, the
council.
retainer agreement, Napoli and Skolnick.
There you go.
Okay, so this is the
Does it name who the signator would be on the?
Town of Dudley Water Sewer Commission by its select board. So it would be the selectmen that would enter into litigation. So I guess we could send this forward and
Our recommendation.
with our recommendation to decide to proceed with
Yeah,
this.
okay. And that's, I mean, I just wanted to make sure we do it professionally, just do it once.
Yep. Okay, so
Okay,
I'll give that right back to you then.
thank you. It'll be on
And
Monday's
that-
You don't
meeting.
want something.
But
something
by
like
our
that,
minutes,
$20 million.
It'll show that we,
Yeah.
Hopefully we can on the next agenda.
we voted to,
I think
I'll get it
that-
on Monday's meeting.
Make it legal.
I'll get it, I'll ask Michelle
yeah,
to get
if
it
you
on
do
Monday.
it first thing in the morning, you'll get onto their meeting.
She hasn't posted it yet.
Policy review, setting regarding water and sewer permits, extensions, and if following properly. Oh, I didn't bring my copies
So I didn't bring my copy either.
Well, you can go back to your reorganization and I
Oh.
can pull out from,
Okay, yep, we'll go back to, oh, you,
I got some
Okay.
more coming.
okay, well, hold on to it then. Jen's got some copies over there. But while she's getting us together there, we'll go back to number 3, reorganization. It's customary after each annual election that boards reorganize. And we're now 2 months past that, but the first time we've had everybody here.
Got a full board.
So what's the pleasure of the board? I've been doing it for 2 years.
Hell of a job.
Yeah, sometimes I think I'd have more hair if I weren't, but I know that's not true. So. What is,
I'll make a motion that Scott remain as chair.
I'll second that. I mean, you've taken us through a lot with the last 2 years with tying bond and everything, you know?
is anybody else?
Do you want it?
No, I mean, and I'll say
I
the
don't
same.
want it.
I'll say the same thing I said last year. I will continue to do it. I know in the last year I've learned, as we always do, better ways to do certain things, and even right up until last week. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll accept it if that's what you want.
I think you're very passionate about it. I think sometimes the passion gets the better of you.
Well, that's the thing.
Some of them you gotta hang back a
Jump into
little.
the policy part
Moderation
of
and
it first.
passion.
Because we'll make policy chairman buys.
Yeah. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any other motions first, I guess? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? I guess it's unanimous. Vice chair.
I don't want it.
Oh.
Want to be vice chair?
That's fine. Whatever you guys
You wanna
think.
Whatever anybody wants, you know?
That's what I said.
You know?
Who's the vice chairman?
The vice chair right now is, was Jay, yep.
Yeah.
Well, you want to keep it, or?
Yeah, I'll keep it, because like I say,
Okay.
it's a good policy. If
Yeah.
I'm in town most of the time, if George needs something signed or, you know, et cetera, you can chase me down, you know?
Sounds good to me. I'll make a motion to make Jay vice chair.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and any other motions, sorry? Okay, motion's been made and seconded to have Jay Spall as the vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Unanimous. And clerk, right? Clerk, who currently, I believe, is Bob.
No.
Oh, is Bill.
Bill.
That's me. I've
Bill.
done a flawless job.
Make a motion, make Bob clerk.
Bob Sullivan, okay. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Oh, I'll second it.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to appoint Bob Sullivan as clerk. Any other? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay. Boys, glad my wife doesn't watch these meetings. Okay, policy review.
Brian's making copies, so they
Oh, Brian's
have-
making copies,
Yep.
okay, well, moratorium and water ban and bylaws.
It's-
It's out there as a standing agenda item in case we have to dive into that. And I think Mama Nature has been taking very good care of us this year where that's concerned.
I don't think our concern has been Mother Nature recently. I think it's more our wells and our capacity and
Yeah,
We've actually dropped a bit of hourly rates, we're down to even 20 hours, so we've actually done good. We're gonna bop the stations, well 7 up a little bit.
I mean, the helping part is that with all the water, nobody's watering their lawns.
That's correct.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we're not using water, so Mother Nature's,
We've been very
Mother
lucky.
Nature's doing it, yes.
Very lucky.
Although I think I still drive by and see Nichols watering.
They got wells for that, for the outside systems they have there.
But you'd think they'd have the rain sensor for $35 and tell it not to water, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's the amount of fertilizer running down the street
love
is.
love to see sprinkler systems that are running in the rain.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just out there as a standing agenda item until we get into a better place. Superintendent's report.
Okay, a couple of things I just want to go over with you guys. Dankris is in, they're doing the demolition work at the main station. We are going to abandon the existing meter pit and shed. The pit is actually, there's been leaking going on, the valves aren't working right the way they should. So I think we're gonna bypass that with another pipeline and then put three gate valves in with a hydrant and call it a day and make a nice neat package and bring it all up to date. So we'll have to call that sort of a little change order. But that's the best way to go about that and avoid that whole setup there. The complaints over Bates tank leaking, decided to address them. There has been a test of the water. The lab claims their work was chlorine and pH in the water, okay. I did notify company come in with a diver. They said they could check it and get a pretty good idea of what's going on there. They did have some suspected areas, but they couldn't really pin it down as to if anything was going. So after a full scan of the interior of the tank, we're gonna say that the tank right now is really not leaking. And we've done all we can to calm the fears up in that area, or farmers or whatever, to say that, you know, that we got a problem. We've got another year to go and the tank's gonna get all rehabilitated anyway, so we just did our due diligence to take care of that, so we're gonna leave it right like that. New truck is in. I haven't driven it in 2.5 weeks because I can't get plates. Don't ask me why, but it's the way it is. I did bring the box truck to MHQ for an evaluation of the body, and I've talked to a few of the commissioners regarding this. They haven't got back to me yet on it, but there's two choices here. One is to rehabilitate the whole back body of it and get another 10 years of life out of it, if we can.
George, can I interrupt? You're not just taking the plates off the other one?
The other one, the boys use the other one, that's the other new one that they have. I can't. I took the plates off it just to bring it back here, but
I thought we were replacing a truck.
no, no, James has the small one now, use it for lawn cutting and all the little grunt work. Box trucks, we're trying to keep that.
Keep it in the
If
yard.
it's replacing the box truck
Yeah, right now, we've been still using the box truck for running around jobs, and we're trying not to, and I'm trying to get it rehabbed to get it back in condition.
Sorry to
Um,
interrupt you,
let me see. He does have a new body, a new body in his backyard that he'd give us a deal on, which is probably talking about 15 grand or so to put a new body on that truck. Then all the interior devices we have and racks and things would have to be done to put our tools and stuff in it. Or I'm waiting still on a price to rehab the old one, which would be some extensive repair in the rear of the truck and around the gas tank area and stuff like that where the rust is really eating away. So I'm still waiting on that there.
What year is that truck?
2011. It's a F550. It's got the 6.7 diesel in it. The
Judge,
truck's been a great truck.
do you think there's any market if you were to buy a new body for that, to put it somewhere for sale? You think there's any market to get?
Not on a rust, not on a
$4,000
rust,
out of it?
yeah, not on a rust body like that. I mean, the other one we had, the highway ended up taking it way back.
Yeah,
And then they ended up just disposing of it, I think. But I haven't got it, I'm expecting 3,000 or 4,000 to maybe rehab the whole box. So I'm more shifting that way a little bit just because the box does have still some life together.
Seriously, for $3,000 or $4,000, if you can get another 8 to 10 years out of it, you'd be ready for a new truck anyhow, a complete truck. You know, don't you think?
Yeah.
You already got, what, 10 years on the
Even
truck?
a 5 or so, I mean, they
That's a
say.
10 It's a 10-year-old truck.
That's a
If we
10-year-old
keep,
truck.
if we keep it basically at bay, we're gonna get a lot more life out of it
Yeah.
than running it around in the sand and salt.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's, we're waiting on that. Blending has been going good. Our pH, our PFAS levels have remained constant throughout all our blending sampling. I just did a recent one this past week, so we'll wait for that for about.
Well, what was the last results to come back?
16,
16.
and they're all staying in the same general area now together.
Which way
16
was,
parts per trillion, that's
Yeah.
that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
which way is the meter off? Number 7, it says the number 7 well.
That's the well 7 Crone meter it needs of calibration. Brian's been working with Crone, and we're trying to get.
Is it over by 100,000 or under by
It's
100,000?
over by 100. So we're pumping more than we're
It says-
registering.
It says 1,000, it's really pumping 1,300.
Yeah. We're actually pumping more than we
So
are
we're
reading pumping, so we're
actually
doing better than
ideally
even.
at the-
So it works to our favor right now.
It works to our
with the
favor.
blending.
Yeah, it does. Technically, it's at the next stage we wanted to move up to.
It's pumping it out
The
for
plan
you.
was, when we talked to Bob Boswick, so right now it's a hold on increasing anything else or touching it until we work everything out with Crone. I'm trying to get Crone and Donnie in there at the same time and figure it out. Something is just, it's out of whack, and I had a couple conversations, and I sent an email with the pictures of how it was wired, and they said that looks good, so we're on to the next step.
It's a tedious little process, but hopefully we'll get through it. We're buying a lot of new power tool, battery powered tools now. I'm got into the Milwaukee sets. I don't want any more power lines off the truck going in the holes. I want everything battery powered. Makes things a lot easier for everybody, and we can finally get to where we need to be. We're having an issue, and everybody knows, with the police as far as details for the INI and for Mason Road. We're dealing with it. There's nothing we can do about it. That's the way the setup is for their rates. They go for the better rates, which is National Grid or NUCO. And you see a lot of times there'll be 2 officers on Meadow Lane, which is a dead-end road, congregating at the beginning of Meadow Lane, and nobody doing anything else on Mason Road, doing our projects, because the better rates there with NUCO.
Can we use flaggers?
We've been using flaggers. I've shut roads down, or half lanes down, to do the INI, and use the sewer boys doing flagging, along with James doing
I
flagging.
mean, can we use a company that does flagging?
Well, we can do whatever we want. They're allowing us to shut the roads down, knowing our situation, which has worked out pretty good.
So if we can do that, I'd rather do that, but.
Yeah. I'm going to have an issue.
It's a lot cheaper.
I'm going to have an issue with West Main Street in a little bit when we're ready to go out there and finish laying the pipe across, because I need 2 professional police officers doing that. But we're hoping maybe tomorrow we're going to do it. Once we get 2 officers, we're going to immediately do that. So we're hoping maybe tomorrow we can get some. They're starting to come out a little bit. But, you know, this has been a problem because National Grid decided to bring NUCO in on Mason Road when we're doing our stuff. And then all these other projects around Mason Road they're doing, taking all the police officer details
Plus, I'm
away.
sure they're
Well, we
pulling,
didn't-
Webster's pulling people. too.
And Webster's pulled some too, yep, so, but like
They
I
didn't call in
said,
their dig safe, so we didn't know if they were gonna be out or not, so it doesn't help.
I mean, we've been managing with it, even today, we had a major, service break over at, on Oxford Ave. And, unfortunately, I don't know what the deal was there, but when a service is about 40 feet into somebody's yard, which is wrong to start over a brook and up a steep hill, becomes a major problem. We were in the road, and Mike was out there directing traffic along with Luke and Brian, and we're taking shifts, and it worked, but still, it was a big hassle. We could have got done faster, but we were busy doing that, but we got the job done, and it is what it was. Also started the project for the water department garage office section. That wall was been inundated with leaks and water rushing into the side, and it was starting to ruin our equipment, and the walls were all rotted. They were unstable, so they're now coming in and rebuilding that whole section side and making it watertight, so we won't have any more problem with leaking water. And it's also electrical hazard because it's running through with the light fixtures and things that are on. And the electrical panels were not grounded, and some of them were exposed out to the weather with the wiring. So that's being taken care of. Everything else, the flow test was done for the Ethan Allen complex at Chase Ave. And we've been working with them to give them a idea how the mains run over there, the setups are, and the pipes going into Ethan Allen. So they're really going gung-ho on that project to start that moving.
What do you have for flow?
I can't remember. I have the results at the shop. I don't remember what it was.
75, was it?
Was it?
I think it was 75.
It should be pretty good in that area, Bob, because of the stations right there and that,
Yeah.
so they seem to be pretty happy with that.
And the GC was also informed of the incorrect connection that was there for the little go-kart place, so they know about it now, so they've been.
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
So,
J, 25 Mason Road.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. That was-
35 Mason Road, a cross connection with it working well.
Yeah.
You were notified, and we were gonna go in there to, whenever the guys can go in with him. It's right in the back. He's aware of it. He's trying to get his plumber in there to change it. I haven't seen any activity with it yet, but it can't continue. It's got
Which road is 35?
I went a lot,
It's over near Catherine Street, near your across the street, near your street. He was actually tied into the other house that was temporarily for the night. I forgot his name. 35, yeah.
Don't mention the name.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no,
not
I'm just
gonna,
trying to
but-
think where it is.
Anyway, he's been notified, Jay was notified, and we're trying to get together to go in there and see what his plumber needs to do to correct that immediately, because he has a cross connection going on there. And Halleck happened to find it because they were getting water blasting in when they shut the service down. Then we went in there and found the well pump going.
Oh,
from the
I
back
know which house
irrigation.
that was. I was
Yeah.
out there when they were getting wet.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
So just let everybody know.
You thought about
Maybe
putting
tomorrow I'll
checks
send
in?
Brian over there and see about, see if we can get together with Jay and.
That's the
yeah,
house.
you know, the only way I'd walk in was with one of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
was, I was out there when they tied the old system to the new system
Yeah.
at Catherine Street. And that's when the guy he cut the pipe, he cut the service, and he had it all shut off, and he was just getting wet. The water was flowing back at him.
So on the sewer side, the guys have been nonstop with I&I, working with them for the last couple of weeks, and that's gonna continue on for a while. We are having a continued problem on Lyons Road, and I've probably had enough of it, and we're going to be looking at new pumps and rails into that pumping station with a new converter for three-phase from the two-phase, so the generator can still run it. We can't keep having guys going in there pulling pumps every 3 days with the rags and the issues going on there. We've put out notices, we've knocked on doors, we've threatened, enough is enough. So we're gonna bite this bullet.
There's really almost nothing we can do about it.
No, we can't. So we're gonna do something about the pumps now. We're gonna get the new type of root pumps that'll take care of that kind of problem, handle that kind of rags and whatever.
What type
And
of pump is it now?
Tsunami pump, probably a tsunami type pump. And it's gonna be on a three-phase system, so it'll actually,
Single phase.
there's two types, and the one we were originally looking at is the one that was gonna kick back, when it first starts, goes in
The
reverse,
auto
and then
reverse, yeah.
goes in, starts off again. It's gonna be an expensive proposition, but, for what I'm paying in overtime costs and, taking guys off their jobs to go fix these things, and someday we'll have a bigger problem with it, it's gotta be taken care of.
You have
And-
somebody lined up?
Yeah,
that can do
yeah,
this?
Donnie's gonna be involved with electrical power, and we've got another guy lined up for that. Plus, the 18 houses going in on Truman Ave is just gonna exacerbate the situation too.
Yep,
Because
three-
they're gonna be directly flowing right through the station. So we're gonna have the same issues going in. So
Do
we
you
gotta
have
prepare for
three-phase
that.
available there?
Donnie can put a converter in there for three-phase.
I know you can make three-phase, they
Yeah.
don't have three-phase
No,
available.
He can make three-phase, so
How much are we talking?
probably about $35,000
So it's-
to get it all done right.
I bet it comes out more than that.
If
No,
possible.
because
We're
you
trying to
said
cut.
35,000, it's not going over that. If it was gonna be more, he would've said 50.
Well, that's their capital.
I'm trying to be nice tonight, just to go easy with it.
Well, I'd rather
Well, that's why with the
I
capital
would
line item.
honestly rather you say 50 if it's gonna, because if it comes over 35, I'm gonna question, well, you said 35.
It's around
You
35,
should know-
and that's
you
right,
should-
what
You
we're
should know
looking
that
at
by
right now.
now, you've worked with him for a long time.
Yeah. We're gonna
We
keep,
just-
try to keep it around 35.
Well, that was for the pump and rails, the electric was more.
So that's it for the report for both right now.
Okay. Administrative assistance pay review.
No, now you wanna go back to the other one.
Yeah,
Oh.
we'll go back to,
Oh, policy review.
Jesus.
All
Okay.
over.
I think I've had figured it out by now. Okay. Okay, this is our current backflow and cross-connection policy. Typewritten.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Does it have a date on it? Frank Kondratovich signed as chairman. Wow. That's a ways back.
Yep.
But it's tight. Okay, so that's backflow and cross connection. And then permit.
So who's the backflow cross connection? Who's the program coordinator? Is that you listed as well?
Toomey does most of the coordination,
We-
Brian oversees him, goes with him, or Luke does at times, as a representative of the water department. He's always been, ever since back in the day, they were trying to do that, but nobody accepted the position, so they kept Toomey as doing everything completely.
So who do you list on the annual stats report as?
To me.
As the program coordinator, or they're the third-party vendor that manages that does the testing and surveys?
Well, he does,
Third-party vendor.
Because there's two sections.
Yeah,
on
it's
there.
under third-party vendor.
Just trying to nail down that if they're the ones that are administering the program, you should probably run this by them for our policy to make sure it meets the current standards, because they have to keep their licenses up to date, and they would probably have a little input.
they have, yeah, they have their own set of criteria, whatever they use.
Right,
for-
but I don't want ours contradicting theirs.
No, that's a
and-
good point, because.
But because
and we
they're
never cross-
administering the program?
We never cross-connected with this as far as
Yeah,
what they do.
obviously our system didn't work.
No.
But,
Do you want me to get a copy of what they?
I mean, I
They-
really-
When I talk to Ryan, or whoever, we'll talk to him and see, just make mention that we would like to have something in writing for,
Well,
jives with what they have for us.
ask them if they have something, and then if you can send a copy of ours for them to
Alright.
review, and if they can mark it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that's good.
Just
All
'cause-
this paperwork that was done in '98, this came out of some boilerplate book or
Right, it was-
catalog.
But a
That's
lot
all
of,
it is.
a
you
lot of
know?
things have changed.
Oh, yeah, but this is
and-
23 years old now.
Right,
But like I say, this was not drawn up by the current board.
This,
Right.
yeah,
They took it
this,
from somewhere.
we should
No.
probably get,
This is not up to date. Whereas you think Toomey might have
I've been out in the field, having
more
looking at
towards
CMRs
the
and
DEP requirements
Googling
of
things to
today?
be able to
Oh,
figure it
yeah,
out.
he's all up to date with
Yeah.
everything.
I mean, I've got the books that give you all the current regs, but like I said, there's things that if them as the program coordinator, if they're saying that, you know, the standard is if you find one, they got 14 days to fix it, but Toomey's policy could be that we're saying you gotta fix it in 7 days. So we don't wanna contradict taking the
Correct.
bare minimum state requirements where we may wanna be a little more stringent.
Okay,
Like
so-
I was gonna ask if you guys don't install any double checks on the, cause they sell the meter couplings.
Yeah.
They sell them now and they're the same size and you can just replace it like exact replacement that has a double check in it. So if somebody's doing something like that, it won't go back into the system. They'll contaminate their own water, but not the rest of the system. It's pricey to change them all out, but like I started putting them all in anytime we change a meter or
Yeah.
a new service gets one of those.
We should look into that, Brian, just to see what, just the cost, you know, maybe
Yeah.
a couple, you know.
I mean, it's not a tremendous amount of money in the
So
grand
this
scheme
is
of things,
everybody who,
but I'd put them on every house now.
every house?
Yeah, cause you don't know what people are doing, and, you
As
know.
we
as-
found out with the other house we were just mentioning,
Right.
that would have
Bob,
provided
on
that.
those double checks, have you had any problems with people with
had-
increased pressure in the house, like from thermal expansion or anything?
No.
Relief valves popping
'Cause,
or?
no, I mean, typically they have the expansion tank on your hot water heaters and,
Yeah.
you know, they're designed for that. I haven't had any issues with them yet.
'Cause I know in the plumbing
that's-
code, it says no check valves on a cold water system, because you want that expansion to go somewhere.
Right, but-
which is back into the main.
But that's exactly my concern with it, is theoretically on the plumbing side, you guys want it to go back, but from our standpoint,
We don't want it.
whatever they're putting in there, we don't want coming back into our system.
Yeah.
Cause we have no control inside their house, and if
So
they,
for example, someone filling or adding water to a waterbed.
right, a waterbed or.
And something happens and that water starts flowing back into the system.
Or-
That tank could empty into our system and foul that neighborhood.
Yeah, or if someone's growing however many plants you're allowed to grow and they've got a hydroponic system and the hose is
Get
in it.
into the fertilizer.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and-
Liquid fertilizer,
Yeah,
then
you-
the fire truck is down the street pulling a vacuum on the water main, and there goes the Miracle Grow
Right,
into the town water.
and then, when we get to the end part of our meeting, I'll explain a little more as to some of the other areas of concern I have, but
Yeah.
that'll come up at the
So
end of the meeting.
basically, to move forward with this, then would need what the state requirements.
Yeah, you
the
need
state
to
requires.
make sure they meet the current state regs,
And we need Toomey's program.
and whatever Toomey has in place as the program coordinator,
I'll
so.
stop by Friday morning. And boy, I'm getting used to. I told him it's tough going back to work every Monday morning. I work 3 days and have 4 days off. But, are you in the office Friday morning?
I'm not sure, I have an appointment, I don't know what time it is yet, I have to check. Am
Okay.
I-
All right,
Do I
I'll
have it
check,
off?
I'll check in with
I
you.
think I have it off. It's on our calendar.
Yeah, I
Brian
know.
has on the phone.
You've been off like every Friday for the last month.
I've had a few doctor appointments.
It's because you keep saying
Yeah,
you
you're
come in
off.
on Friday.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm gonna come in on Fridays. She conveniently has an appointment, yes.
So, it's our half day, so I make it on the day that's gonna
Actually, it
affect-
says Jen off, Scott may come in. Oh, don't read out loud. Should probably put that first.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, just, we'll have to get that together and then, we get it out to folks so that they can see the difference. So we can, or we can look through it and figure out.
So this virtually becomes a legal type of document then, whereas it has to meet DEP regulations and your,
Because
and your.
the current-
backflow preventer.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can go more stringent
Yeah, you can be
than
more
the
stringent,
standards,
but
but
we have to meet the
we have to
minimum.
at least meet their
State
minimum
Our
standards.
current standard was typewritten.
Well,
That's bad.
2 sanitary surveys ago,
That's not bad, but
we
it's
weren't
just,
enforcing the 14-day, and I know that's one of the things that we had to do.
Yeah,
when
that's,
John, before John retired.
That's a requirement.
Yeah. So,
okay. And the other one is permit connection. And this looks like it's to do with, applications for connection.
Part of this is Tom's favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that line is in there.
About-
In no case is a permit transferable by sale or any other means. The Tom.
So Tom's happy.
The Tom Fournier.
We call that the Tom
The
bill?
Tom Fournier condition, yeah.
We can name it, Tom,
No, that's
California
all
bill,
Yeah.
All right.
just like
Yep.
Congress.
No, so, look, then this is pretty much in line with what we're doing now.
So does this meet everything on your end, Jen?
I'm sorry?
Does this meet everything on your end?
Yes, and we had discussed you looked at the fee permits the last time.
Right.
And then what I did do is I made a couple, I'm gonna pass those down, a checklist that every time they'll come in, I'll make out one of those for them, and it has everything listed on it.
Right, you
That-
gotta go
Okay.
through and make sure everything's
Like
done.
every permit fee, so that I'm not, like, right now, what I'm doing is making notes on every permit that comes in, paid the $350 on this date, that's on there. Paid the $400 meter fee, the connection for water if it may be, and then miscellaneous if there's additional things. So that each address will have one of those. So there's no question about if they've paid or not, and they know that they can then advance to the next
A
stage.
checklist per job.
Right.
Every job.
I
receives
mean,
that.
that was just a quick little,
And I think it's a good practice to have it, so that, you're not playing favoritism for someone,
yeah,
you
and
know,
everything.
this way you've got it all
black.
there, and
Everything's in black
it
and white.
shows that
Yeah.
everything's the same across the
Here's the
board.
standard
Yeah.
form.
So then when they file, I'll automatically write up one of those for them, and the night of the meeting, I'll have it so that I'll know if they paid me that night, I can mark it.
Yeah.
Everything,
Thinking.
so that all the steps
Yeah.
are,
Yeah,
And we're
very
all,
good.
do we have everything in place to make sure we get paid for the one that didn't pay the connection fees?
Oh,
That's
yes.
just the foundation?
oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, and trust me.
Generated an account, billed them for having service to the property and attached owed money.
Yep,
When they go to sale, they get the municipal lien. So they can't sell it and not disclose that to the next person or anything else, so it's there. So, one way or another, we'll get paid.
Are both lines, water and sewer,
Mm-hmm.
connected at that particular,
Just water.
just water?
I
no,
don't think sewers.
Yeah.
Okay,
So what
so,
was the problem? I thought he
Can I
took
make
the
a motion
lateral.
on this?
I think
Yeah.
when I looked at it, I thought I looked at the Zillow sale ad for that,
Yeah.
and I thought I saw the two
It's-
penetrations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
they've been billed for both connections. I have it noted on
Come in
there.
for the sewer then?
Okay.
Come in and do that?
Motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion, that we accept policy number WS 003.001.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Unanimous. So, you have a copy of it dated
Yep,
for today? Okay.
I will.
Jen, when they come for a permit, you give them a copy of this?
Yep, I've been going through everything with them, step by step by step.
Thank you.
Now, I guess as a sidebar on this particular one, e-permitting, I hear that the town, I see that the town now has gone to e-permitting. Are we part of it?
No, we are not at this time.
Will we be? Or are we moving towards that?
In the future, as of right now, e-permitting was set up with 10 free permit applications that the company would create.
Okay,
So they did the busiest, they did building, Board of Health, and the selectmen's motor vehicle and
It's on the-
alcohol
It's on
license.
the board down there.
Yeah.
It's on the
Okay.
board.
Anything additional, Debbie's been learning how to do, but right now, we just rolled out with the 10 to see what bugs need to be worked out and things like that, and then they'll go forward.
Which program? Is it Civic Plus? Or?
Oh, I have to ask me now, right?
Yeah, that's-
Hold on.
It's not important. but,
It'll come to me.
Does,
It's labeled right in the entryway. When we walk in, it was right on a bulletin board right in front of us.
It's the same one as Sutton, I know that.
Is this something we wanna do?
The whole,
well,
the,
it's supposed to make things easier.
the
and-
whole town will eventually be going to it.
So is there anybody else that's not in the program yet, other than us?
Town clerk is not yet.
Okay.
Now, does George sign off on building permits?
When a building permit comes in, I speak to him about it, depending on what stage it is. If it's a roofing or something like that, we just check to make sure that they have a new meter, that we're not trying to get in touch with them for anything.
Right, just to make
Because
sure
that's
there's
not
no
gonna
issues
affect
that.
anything.
Right, you can hold up the permit
Right.
in order to get done whatever we need to get done, but
Right. But anything else, he looks at plans or whatever.
I just,
What does he sign off on?
Sometimes he does, sometimes he'll say verbally, I checked those plans, you can sign my name, and I'll sign his name and initial my name.
So the department is signing off?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I'm just, there's times that he should be signing off, or.
absolutely.
Like, I made him do it in Douglas where I have to sign off on all the occupancy permits now, so they won't issue an occupancy, and that's where it comes in if they didn't pay any of the fees or give us tie cards, you know, things like that, because you lose a lot of records, and then you go out there and try to figure out where they put the curb. I mean, you know, you try to find these things half the time.
And that's absolutely something that can be added in if that's something that,
But that way, I know it's a little more for George, but
Yep.
at least that way he has to sign off, and if he missed something, that's on him, but
right.
at least we have the opportunity to catch things that may have been missed.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can have them put that in there.
But it's quick, I mean, we'll get George up to speed on using the computer, but.
Nelson's
Why
doing
don't we
it,
turn water to wine?
so,
But it's just a quick going in and,
Yeah.
you know, yes, and.
yeah,
you can put in
everything
the-
comes to
Put in the
the,
notes or whatever.
right.
Connected to town water, but private sewer or whatever.
Right.
That way it's documented and.
And that's what I've been doing, like if I get something that comes through as a roof and it doesn't affect us, I just put, you know, if it's something comes to, everything comes to water sewer. So if it's somebody who's on, private
Private well,
septic and
private
private
sewer.
well, I'll write in no public town water, town sewer, no town water, town sewer. And send it off because it doesn't need review through us.
Right, but that way at least, it's one of those things that maybe we wouldn't have had a Brandon Road.
Right,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? So if even if they say it's private,
Yep,
you know, you have the documentation or somewhere, at least a point that he might be able to catch it where
absolutely.
it might slip through, because we had one that was way off the system and they wrote they were connected to town water. So,
Right, and
it's
that's,
just, sometimes the builders work in towns where there's always town water, and they come out to a place like Douglas or Dudley that, you know, there's a
Take it for
lot of
granted.
area that doesn't have it, and you gotta put in a well, and.
yep. No, I can definitely have them add that on. Are there any other policies that you want to have to review for the next meeting to start working towards besides the backflow?
I think I'd be looking at you three to see what you think, what areas are of concern that we need to have a policy for.
We were talking about meter, something with the meters, I can't remember what it was now, that somebody was doing something. Oh, that situation on Mason Road, where you haven't got a bill, or haven't got payment. Remember I was discussing, they have like a, can't call it a squatter, but they call it somebody is staying there and not paying any water, sewer, or whatever. And it's just gonna go on and on and on and on and on, you know, maybe in the end you'll get.
Is it connected?
It's connected.
It's turned on?
It's turned on, but we can't turn off or anything like that, and there's been no
We can.
bill.
So why
paid.
can't you turn off?
Right now, I can't say the number of the house on.
No, I'm just,
But I can tell you, George, that's a family member living there.
Yeah, well, the family
Right,
member
so-
isn't paying anything either, I believe, for as far as it's.
right, but if we have
Well, I
non-payment, we can shut off for non-payment.
Right.
Is the water bill?
We
treasurer
don't
usually
have
puts-
that we have no set guideline for that.
Right, so we need a policy
We
that
need a
says.
Policy for
okay.
that.
For
Yeah.
non-payment.
I can't do anything until I
So
have. a
shut off
finish.
service
you-
with, for non-payment.
I would actually say shut off service in general, because if somebody's refusing to even let me in, they could be paying their bill. For instance, there was another one on First Ave, but I need to change something, I need to go in and see something's wrong, and they keep refusing entry.
Yeah,
Then
along
there's-
with, what he's saying is something, you know,
Just
we
a
wanna
general
check things
shut-off
out, if
policy.
they don't allow us, so we're never home.
So I guess
Okay.
tied together, the non-payment, what do we do with non-payment, and how do we deal with that? And that's gonna fall back on, I'm sure there's some state regulation in
I was
there.
gonna
what
say,
to do with
by
non-payment.
right, you can shut them off, it's in the general regulations.
Several
But,
years ago,
but
we, Mr. Chairman.
Also with the shut-off policy.
I'll tell you, right.
Several
I've had-
years ago, we went through that, remember? And we had approval from the Board of Health, and we had those door knockers and everything else set up, and we did collect a ton of money on both sewer and water. But I also thought most of these properties, they would have a lien boot on them through the
That's the issue, is
treasurer's
whether
office.
that would come down the line.
Which is
But
years
right
down
now,
the
years
road.
down the
If
road,
it's owned outright.
you know, so we had a policy as far as setup, as far as, you know, okay, well, you get a letter, a registered letter, a certified, whatever, and then you know,
We
somebody
stopped
physically
it.
knocked it, then now you're gonna mark the road, you know.
That's what we
there's-
did.
There
And we
was
spray
2 weeks
painted the
here, 2
box,
weeks there.
certified mail, then we went as far as a door knocker. You know, if we don't receive payment, you know. we
Constable
do-
and whatever it
And
was.
then it goes. then
We
it
had that
becomes-
policy.
Actually becomes a lien on their property
Then we
taxes.
did collect a ton of money.
The lien is gonna take forever to collect, but
Technically, no, because we can force the town to pay our lien.
Yes.
Yeah, by rule, we can make them pay.
Because there's been some pushback from other entities that we shouldn't be shutting them off because we'll always get our money, no matter what, municipal lien.
That's not true.
But,
Plus, we have no access to the
Treasure.
meters and see if they
And it's-
would.
yeah, that's
It's
that's
not
a
good
bigger
practice.
concern.
no, it's not, because
Turn
if somebody's willing to do that, they're also at risk of doing other things onto our system.
But
That's-
what if half the town decides not to pay their bill, and
Yeah.
we just wait to get paid from liens and half of,
Would be broke.
right,
Would
and
be
so
broke.
we need it for cash flow purposes.
We also want to set a precedent, that this can't be done in Dudley, you just
Right.
can't keep doing this, can't get
And
away
trust
with
me,
it, 'cause
and
you're
I-
getting away with, they're getting away with it now.
George, on that subject,
Somebody's gonna do that.
Oh, yeah.
do you
Can't
know
get
where
in.
we stand in the last several years? Do we have high accounts receivable on water and sewer? Do we know that through the treasurer's office?
Like end of fiscal, do you have a,
Eight.
the
Eight.
outstanding
There is some,
8,000?
I mean, we've done that, we've asked that information in the past to go after these outstanding
I
debts.
remember we did that and we got, well, I can't say, it was kinda,
I mean, we could be owed $200,000-300,000 without even realizing it.
All I can say is that I was just informed that that was the treasurer's office's responsibility, not my office's responsibility.
Right.
That's fine, but we still need to understand, and that affects our rates. You know, if we don't collect, DOR says, we collected this much last year, you can only justify that much, and we need to artificially inflate rates to cover the difference, so the people that are not paying their bills, the people that are paying their bills are paying for the people that are not paying their bills.
did you ever
So-
get a list from them that we wanted
That's why
to?
we're taking direct costs to
Right.
receive this information.
But that's what I was gonna say.
We have a
I-
right to a
That's
list
my
of,
timeshare fee
for,
was because the people didn't pay their timeshare.
Exactly, so,
It was built
in
into
my
the budget.
opinion, the board should be seeing what the accounts payable and accounts receivable are outstanding at the meeting, so
maybe we can send a.
we know
letter.
where we stand,
Well,
so.
Mr. Chairman, you think you could,
I sent the
think
letter.
the selectmen to speak to,
They have no jurisdiction.
No,
Elected
so,
they have
position.
so we can request it as a board
We can request it as a board.
for our commissioners' meetings. We'd like to see what the, when you send the bills.
I would say accounts received, you know, we had a policy, you know, what, 6 months in arrear, a minimum of like 6 months in arrear.
It'd be stronger
On the
through the
accounts
board, because we've been
receivable.
doing it generally through everything, but through the board.
That's what I
as a
mean,
letter.
so I think we need to send a letter saying that we request for our commissioners' meeting, so we know where we stand.
For review and,
Right, financially, if we need to make more efforts for collections, or, you know, if we need to evaluate rates and what's affecting the rates, and, you know, I know we
I'll be
paid.
in when you're not here on Friday to.
That's okay, I'll have something somewhat. So, how far back do you want? Like, I mean, what do you?
I mean, his report should be, you know, he can go as far as he wants, but I mean, anything beyond this fiscal year is semi-irrelevant to us unless we're gonna evaluate it for rate purposes.
Okay,
Because I know we paid Ty and Bond to do a rate study, but it's kind of a recommendation. You don't just say, oh, that's what they said we need to do. I mean, we need to evaluate where we
Right.
stand and whether those rates generated what we anticipated. I mean, maybe we generated twice as much because he's done a great job on finding water theft. So we don't need to raise as much, you know,
Right.
that would be my hope.
It might be a situation where instead of raising, we have to go after.
And if we've got an
you know,
excessive,
and collect.
Right.
You know, that's the issue.
Right, so why raise rates if we just really need to
Enforce.
focus on some collection efforts
I mean,
instead?
and and I believe this came up about a year ago, or might have even been longer. But I believe this came up before, and yeah, it gets linked to the property tax. And you can, you know, we can demand, okay, well, then pay us. And I'm sure the town's not gonna wanna have to.
It's not a matter of us demanding it, it's actually in the regulation. It
Yes.
says they are,
But
once
they-
it goes to tax collection, then they're supposed to pay us, and then they get paid when they
Would-
get the
yeah.
collection. But most towns won't go through
Right.
that because
Right.
the town doesn't wanna pay it, but.
Yes,
But it is in the regulations.
okay.
My only other suggestion on policies would be, the sewer has a policy, if you have a new development in a house or whatever, within X amount of feet of it, you're forced to go onto sewer.
No, we don't.
We don't have that for water.
No,
You-
but
We do not have that.
You should have, we should have, in my opinion, we should have put Lions Road on the system. We're losing $12,000 a year in revenue and $30,000 a year off the hop on connections.
Years ago, we tried that. We tried that with Tobin Farms.
I thought they actually did that on, what's the road?
We actually,
Well,
You have to be a little bit more
We actually-
specific.
Legal
Because
to do it? I don't even
The
know.
one
took
across
it-
from Tobin Farms.
They,
Wayne Ave.
Wayne Ave.
they found
we did it.
When you
there is
guys did that,
there
I
is a
thought
bylaw to
There is
collect.
something about sewer, you
Within
have to
300 feet.
connect.
Yeah, I'm pretty
It's
sure
in
it was
one
in
of
there
the
because.
policies.
Within a certain amount of feet.
Look, we had brought a bylaw change to the town meeting. and it was
Not
shot
a,
down.
this was it was a policy regulation, because we
Policy.
found it.
Yeah, the
Policy.
we have to try to draw back from calling them bylaws.
Right.
Yeah.
These bylaws are very specific and go to town
Policy
meeting.
and procedure is
Policies
different,
and
yeah.
procedures, we
Bylaw has
have
to get
control
approved at
over.
town meeting.
And if something supersedes us, then we have to go by what supersedes us, but mandated connections.
Because at this point, I mean, with one going online soon, and everything else, we'll have enough capacity, so we need the revenue. So, before we were having to turn away what we wanted, now we're
So there's,
now we want to bring them to us.
there is certain things to consider though. I mean, if I just paid $40,000 putting in a septic system, and now you're saying, oh, you've gotta tie in. You know,
Yeah,
That's the one.
you gotta have something in there, you know, if you
Yeah.
fail a septic system or whatever, or
Yeah.
if the property changes hands, or,
Right.
I mean, you gotta factor some of those things in, you can't just expect someone.
sure. Okay, so that's a good chunk to deal with next month. Administrative assistance pay review. We have a list, we have a spreadsheet here from the proposed salary ranges from the selectman's consultant. And there's some notes in there about a highlighted area for the administrative assistant. And what is well, we can see the minimum, maximum, and benchmark. That benchmark is not quite halfway. So that's a benchmark, I'm assuming that's a benchmark they're setting for the town to try to meet.
Right.
What is the handwritten number, what does that signify?
That's the low of, they're trying to get.
Level 3.
They're trying to get everyone up into fair market value. That is the starting rate for fair market value, the handwritten amount.
Okay,
That's the starting rate for fair market value.
According to this guy's rate study.
That's correct.
If you look on the MWWA rate study, that's on the low end.
This is a good first-ditch effort, but that's all it is. With all these.
And that first column is what you're currently being paid now?
A little more than that, because that was done 2 years
Yes,
ago.
okay, yes, okay, yeah.
Well, 2.5, basically.
So did they establish the grade levels for the positions as well, or is that what's current?
No, they established them. They originally had me in a different area, and
Yeah, I see that.
that was rectified.
Yes,
Class all by yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
you're where you belong now.
I don't understand how they're putting like a bunch of the administrative positions and then a highway foreman in the same. That's very weird.
Mhm.
Then move down, you're getting the veterans into 22, just below that, on that different grade level.
Yeah.
The highway foreman,
Yeah.
he gets $36 an hour here.
I know, but they have them listed as a grade level 3.
Yeah, it's one below the superintendent.
To be fair, the guy who did this rate study took 6 towns. 4 of them were basically run by like Whitewater or some entity like that. Another one had 2 clerks, one for each one.
That's Webster.
And another one had, wasn't it Webster?
Webster has 2 clerks.
Yeah, 2 clerks, both of which make more than her, even with this pay raise.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay, so what is the proposal for? Are they saying we should be moving to this new rate? Is that what is the recommendation coming from the
So
rate study?
they're saying that the town is going to put me at that handwritten rate. Regardless, that's what they're putting me at,
Will
unless you have something different to say.
Will there be annual increases for that level too as they go, or, or is this gonna be another study down the line?
Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. What it said, he said was, then it would be merit-based after that.
Or that based on reviews?
Yeah.
Right.
So they're saying
But if
that,
they're gonna do an adjustment, and you've already got 7 years in service, correct?
Mhm.
Why are you not to the medium of that range?
Because
They're trying to move in that direction, because
Yeah.
it's such a big jump, they're saying that.
yeah.
right, but
But a big jump, small jump, you gotta jump sometime, you might as well make the damn jump right.
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You
Yeah.
can't just say, oh, well, this is what you're at, so why should you be that? So are they saying everyone in a grade level 3 is the proposed, the one that's highlighted? That's gonna be the
No.
range?
That's, well,
The range, but people are gonna fall in
Somewhere
a
in there,
different
yeah.
area of that range.
yes.
Well, there's only you and Michelle in grade level 3, correct?
And here, and Jackie.
And Jackie.
Assistant treasurer collectors in that range.
Oh, the assist, and the
Town
assistant,
clerk.
so there's 4 of us.
Children's library.
Children's librarian is there.
So they're saying, going by those numbers, and then they're showing that the minimum is that first column after that.
21.
Right.
So
Yep.
on yours, they're saying
Well,
19.
that is not they're aiming to start at not the benchmark, the low end of the benchmark, which is not, the other one is the minimum range, which they've adjusted that some. So the number that I have written in is the low starting point. So that
No,
means.
I understand that, I'm saying, but on their survey, the FY 2020
Right.
survey minimum, survey midpoint, survey
Their numbers are
max.
wrong.
I can tell you those numbers are not correct.
Those numbers are wrong.
Because my system, which is smaller,
Yeah.
is higher than their max.
Yeah, those numbers are wrong.
Did you print out the MWWA?
No, I did not, because I was just,
And I can tell you the neighboring town is higher for that, and it's 2 separate positions, both are higher than that.
Both of which were
Are higher
cannibalized
than
from
the
us.
max.
Yes.
Right. I'll say, I know one of them came from
So,
you.
we're potentially training Jen to go to Webster. I mean, that's what they seem to do.
don't look at me like that.
But we don't have the
Say
authority to
something,
just
please.
implement this, do we?
You have you have the authority to choose, because they're gonna be giving everyone increases. They're saying they're gonna move, so the assistant town clerk and the assistant treasurer collector and myself will all start at that written in value. They're saying that's what they're gonna do. You have the authority if you disagree with that.
Okay.
But it'll be at that level for what.
It'll be.
I don't know why they're not starting them at the benchmark number.
This is the information that was brought to me.
I mean, unless it's,
I'm thinking the benchmark number is probably just a little bit too much for the budget they handle,
What's
to jump all at once. So they're jumping
Then
a little
why-
bit and then they'll.
then why did they
they'll
do the
increment
survey to
up.
begin with?
Well, you do a survey to find out, but if you can't afford it, you can't afford it.
Right, but I mean,
That
the
survey was
budget,
done under a grant when we
But-
got that guy in there, so that's.
but
the
theoretically,
indicator
we
of
would have budgeted at whatever she's at.
Sure.
So regardless of this, I mean, we may have to make an adjustment to the budget.
Right.
Regardless of which level it goes in, it's just a matter
Yeah, I
of
can
how
see-
I
much.
think that's the key point.
We can adjust
Our
our
budget,
budget. yeah.
it's not their budget.
Right, but,
Yeah, our enterprise fund
Our
budget.
salary
I mean, the
budget is our budget.
The only thing I can see is if they're not gonna use that number, they could base it on, years of service. Somebody's got a year in, well, maybe
Right.
they pay them less, but
Right.
it doesn't make sense to
Well, that's what
just
I-
pick a number lower than,
That's what I consider her 7 years.
Let me see if I
She
can
should
get
be
some
at the
information.
and, yeah, I would like a little more information, and how do the steps work? Like, I'm assuming,
Haven't been
they're
told
saying
anything.
a range, so you've got a beginning and an end. Is that over, do they figure a 10-year period or a 10-step?
Unfortunately, we have been given, no additional information at this time.
Because, I mean, I have concern.
I've done a lot of these surveys. For 20 years, I did Colorado Crossing. I did all this stuff.
Yeah,
What they're doing here is, for all practical purposes, showing you a salary level with a range. And they have an entry level, they have a midpoint, and they have a maximum. So really, the two numbers you look at is the entry, that's somebody with no experience.
Just starting.
Today.
yeah.
The maximum is usually 15, 20-year employee. Somebody with 7 years, 7 to 10, they should be right in that
Right in the
middle.
middle.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's a reality of it.
Also, technically, she's an operator.
And-
She's a
and-
D1
and-
operator.
That's what they have
Will be put
put
to
out
work.
there. Now, that's staying within the level,
Told you anytime.
but I don't know
Came close
what
today.
they said constitutes this level as far as responsibilities and how they figured
I
and
think we
lumped
should
all
push
these
that up.
different titles into level 3.
I agree,
Yeah,
I just wanna.
I looked at it a little quickly
walk
for her
through it a
before.
little more, 'cause I think there's
His
a few
information,
points
what
that
he
we need
based
to
this off
discuss.
of was general clerks, billing clerks and everything else. It had nothing, it wasn't really to do with a true water or sewer clerk who was doing the job. There's an MWA study that has those pay rates, not substantially higher, but higher.
That benchmark is not mid-range.
No.
No.
That's going from 21 to 34, that's 13, that's
just under
6.5, so that's about $1,
It should've been like 29.
about
is my
$1.25 below mid-range,
13.
the benchmark.
So, I mean, I can
The
find
bench-
out more information for you for next meeting, just tell me what you'd like, and I'll gladly request
Well,
it.
I'd like to know are the steps or the increases based on merit?
Okay.
Or are they standard
Based on
yearly?
time,
Right,
yeah.
so you get a COLA, that's different, but then
There's gotta be
inside
some
there,
steps
is
on
there
that.
a merit? Or, because my concern in today's day and age is doing things based on merit, and you say, all right, you do this, you get 2 steps, you do that, you're 1 step. It leaves the department open for discrimination, and not to say that we do, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
you can inadvertently, and it not be done on purpose, but if somebody grabs the data and you can look at data and
To
do
make
it the way
data
you
mean
want.
whatever you want it to mean.
Right, so if somebody grabs the data and it says, hey, they do a merit, or, there's no set, everybody gets a step each year, it leaves us open to liability of saying, well, how come all the women only went up 1 step and all the men went up 2 steps? And it may not have been on purpose, but if the data shows that, it opens us up to liability.
All the
So-
people with hair went up one step.
Yeah.
All people
So-
with- yeah.
Went down without hair.
Without
Down.
knowing
Right.
how they,
Rather than you going male, yeah.
how they do those steps or increases or, you know, whatever, I would just like a
What is the
little,
methodology?
just to make sure we don't leave ourselves open for any liability, but,
No problem.
I mean, I know Brian has more data, cause I know you look at that survey stuff all the time.
Okay.
But I can just tell you from experience, I know multiple ones around here, larger and smaller systems that aren't that same scale, so.
Okay, so at this point, it's
No
information.
Is there a
Yep.
time frame?
That
Yeah.
I don't know, I will check into it.
When is the town gonna force this increase on us?
I don't know, I
I'm
don't
saying
know.
that
I know.
somewhat tongue in cheek.
And can we add I would say we probably wanna add a marker for the fall town meeting?
Yeah,
Yes.
you would need it.
Yes,
because-
we're gonna need a.
Because if you
fall
had
town
enough
meeting
fluff in the
article.
budget on salaries, then I'm gonna be upset that we didn't.
No, we don't.
Because you don't have any ability to pay anybody
I
anymore, so.
have, we have a differential that would cover that increase, but then there would be no paying the highway guys if they came over and moving around, but there is some there, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So I think that was their thought in general, was that you have to go and ask for an adjustment from town, take it from retained earnings and
Yeah,
adjust
we
all.
we're gonna have to.
Because
create
they
a
didn't
warrant
we don't
article.
even have the union contract done yet, so all our salaries are still technically at the old one, so you're gonna have to grab a little bit just for those.
Right, and that's what I mean, is our budget should have been set, because there's no ability to say, hey, we're gonna raise you this much without having that factored in ahead of time. So if you had 10%, we know COLA's only 1%, we weren't doing
Yeah.
steps this year, then, you know, what are you doing fluffing the budget, so.
Okay,
No fluff into salaries, you can't touch it.
That's what I mean, you have no ability to do anything with it, so we shouldn't have money in there to do a jump like this, other than if we had a vacancy
That's
that
why.
Yeah.
could make up the difference.
Well, that's what happened the past couple of years. We had
Right,
that one,
so I mean, you budgeted for someone that should be there, and
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
know.
fill
we
it.
were able to use it.
Trust me.
okay.
I'll find out
So
information.
we'll get some more information on that.
Thank you.
And get a marker in place just to make sure we meet timelines to.
Yep.
Public comments? Anything from the peanut gallery? Nope. Board comments? Anybody have
They
anything?
didn't come in, we discussed it,
That's
just
item
touched on it.
5.
Oh, okay.
Item 5. They were here.
Were we gonna say anything about this anymore before?
If they don't come, there's no dispute.
Okay,
Goes through the meter.
I know that all too well.
okay.
I've been there.
I wasn't questioning the bill, I just questioned if you took it up yet.
Yeah.
Nope, they didn't come, they didn't show up.
So that'll be a final resolution for that issue? No coming back,
Well, I mean,
that's the thing.
Well, they're invited to the meeting.
If
and-
they-
They can-
and like-
Anybody can come to a meeting to dispute a bill.
Yeah, but I'm saying within reasonable time to pay it too, I mean, you
Yeah.
know, how long you
Well, if
wanna.
they don't pay it, it becomes a lien. I mean,
But it was, as Brian brought it up,
It
the
was-
discrepancy between water and sewer is in the new procedure for cubic footage.
Yeah.
right,
So
that's because
why
they
that's
got
why
pushed
we're
into a
like
higher,
3 to 1, you know?
into a higher level.
Because they got
But it's,
pushed into a different,
it's not a,
price.
it's not something for
It's not
us to be concerned about, they're not here. Okay, any other board comments? Hearing none.
Need a motion?
How do we do this?
I think you need a.
Exactly.
Who makes
I make-
who makes the motion? To go into executive session?
Anybody can make
Whomever,
it.
anybody can make it, they just have to read.
Don't you have something to read on that?
Yep,
Yeah, you
it's
gotta
on the
read
bottom
that.
of the agenda.
Yep.
You wanna do that,
And you have to state that you're making a motion to adjourn into executive session and not to reconvene in public meeting.
right? Mr.,
Wanna do it?
Vice chair, the vice chair.
oh,
You ready?
either one of you, I don't care, go ahead.
Okay, we'll call it at 7:45. We will adjourn to executive session, not to reconvene in public meeting. Executive session pursuant to general laws C 30A, 21A, 7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant in aid requirements. America's Water Infrastructure Act of 2018, published L 115-270, and / the Safe Water Drinking Act of 1974. 42 USC 300F, both as may have been amended, federal regulations promulgated thereunder, and or general laws, chapter 4, 7, 26A, B, D, and N.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. This has to be by roll call vote.
Do we need to invite Brian into this, or is that just?
We can invite anybody, we can invite people in the.
That's not, man, we don't need to,
Yeah, no.
okay.
California, aye.
Bob Sullivan, aye.
Chase Paul, aye.
Bill Conley, aye.
Scott Sikowski, aye.
Thank you.